question. So number 1, we have a negative plus a positive. So what do I do? Ooh, 2 or negative 2? Yeah, it's a positive 2. Remember, when the signs are different, you subtract the numbers and you keep the sign of the larger number. So that gives us a positive 2. Number 2 is a minus a negative. So this is like 8 plus 3, which is 11. Good. Next, we have 4 plus negative 2. Just like number 1, you subtract the numbers, keep the sign of the larger number. You get a 2. 4, same sign. So you add the numbers, keep the sign. You get negative 15. 5 is like a regular old subtraction problem. It's just 3. Getting into the multiplication, remember this is a completely different set of rules than addition and subtraction. So don't try to follow the same rules. Different rules altogether. So here, remember, a negative and a positive make a negative. So this is a negative 16. This one's a negative 30. Back to addition, they're all just kind of sprinkled together. This is a negative 14. Any questions on that first column?
No.
All right, second column, remember, this is just like a different way to write division. So this is negative 25 divided by 5, which is negative 5. Next, we're getting into order of operations. So it's all multiplication, so we just work from left to right. That gives us 9. Multiply again, you get 18. And then 18 times negative 1 is negative 18. Questions? All right, next we have 3 minus, you have to do this multiplication, that's negative 24, and then what's minus a negative? Yeah, it's plus a positive, so this is a 27. All right, 12 and 13 are very, very tricky. I'm going to give you a hint. One of them's negative 25, one of them's positive 25. Which is which? Which one's negative? 12. This is the negative 25. This is the positive 25. And the reason is the parentheses. Here, the negative has nothing to do with the exponent. Okay, this is kind of like multiplying it by a negative 1. Do you do multiplication first or do you do exponents? Exponents. So you do 5 squared first. And then think of it as multiplying by a negative 1. So that's how you get a negative 25. Here, this is actually the number negative 5 times the actual number negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. So that's the difference on those. Questions on 12 and 13? There are definitely ones like that on the test tomorrow.
Test.
She just told us this Wednesday.
What do you think we're reviewing for? Oh my.
I said shoot.
Okay. Have to play back the video. Check it out. Yeah, don't say bad words on YouTube.
I did.
I'm going to lose my subscribers. I'm going to lose subscribers left and right. Okay. If we add some bad words, that'll bring, put a little edge on it. Is that what you're saying?
I said shoot.
Okay. All right, back to this.
Go back and listen to me.
We good for 14? Ready? Okay. We have to do parentheses first. So this is negative 7 squared. This is the same thing as what we're looking at on number 12. The negative sign has nothing to do with the exponent. So take care of the 7 squared first. What is 7 squared? 49. And if you think of it as a negative 1 multiplied by that, that'd give you a negative 49.
Hold on, what?
Okay, you got to deal with the negative at the very end. You are just squaring the 7. So it's like 7 times 7, which is 49. Then you make a negative. If the sign confuses you by itself, think of it as a negative 1 times 7 squared. So you do 7 squared first, that's 49, and then times the negative 1. Other questions?
No.
All right. Order of operations on the next one, we have to do parentheses first. So I have 7 times. When I subtract, I get a 3. Then we multiply. What's 7 times 3? 21. And what's 21 plus 10? 31. So that answer is 31. Number 16. I have to do parentheses first. What's 5 minus 8? What is 4 times negative 3? So that one's negative 12. So first two columns are on the board. They're kind of scrunched in there. So if there's something that you're confused on, just raise your hand and we can discuss it a little further. Which one? Number 16 is not a negative. Wait, 16 should be a negative though. Right, thank you. So we have 4 times negative 3, so that's a negative 12. My bad. Squeeze a negative in. Positive times a negative is a negative. There we go. Just making sure you're paying attention. All right, let's jump up to the third column. So we have a negative 6 plus a negative 10. That's negative 16. Next, order of operations on 18. We have to divide before we can add. So we have 8 plus 3, which is 11. 19, we're subtracting more than we had. So this is going to end up bringing us to negative 4. 20 is very similar to 10. You're just multiplying from left to right. So that gives you positive 9 times negative 4, which is negative 36. I'm kind of flying through these because you've had these for a while. I'm assuming these are all good. Order of operations you guys seem pretty strong in. Any questions? Do I need to slow down? Okay, what is 15 plus 3?
18.
So we have an 18 on the top. Remember, you have to simplify the whole top, then the whole bottom. What do you get on the bottom? And then what is 18 divided by 6? 3. All right, 22. We have to do the multiplication first. So this is going to be 4 minus 6 plus 8. And then you do addition and subtraction from left to right. What is 4 minus 6? Negative 2. What's negative 2 plus 8? 6. You can check it with a calculator. 23. This is a fun problem. We multiply first, so we have negative 8 plus, what's 2 times 4? 8. What's negative 8 plus positive 8? 0. And last on the board right now is number 24. You can't really see it, but I'm going to try to squeeze it up there anyway, just so we can complete this whole section together. So we have to do parentheses. What's 3 minus 8? Negative 5. I'm going to write it up here. So we have 5 parentheses negative 5. That's 5 times negative 5, which equals negative 25. So that's the answer for the last one in this section. Raise your hand if you have any questions. We take the variables out. We put the numbers in. So for number 25, I'm taking the x out. Instead of an x, what am I going to write? Negative 4. Put that in parentheses. And instead of a y, what am I going to put? 5. All right, multiply from left to right. What's 2 times negative 4? Negative 8. What's negative 8 times 5? Negative 40. Good. Questions? Okay, while you guys are catching up, I do want to kind of explain how we grade the tests in here. Have you guys heard of something called partial credit?
You have credit.
Partial credit means you can get like some points even if your answer is wrong. So let's say you're working through number 25. If you show me that you know to take the x out and put a negative 4, take the y out and put a 5, even if this answer is wrong, you're going to get some points because you knew how to start the problem. That's why you want to show your work tomorrow. The more steps you can show us that you know how to do, the more points you're going to get. Each question tomorrow is worth 4 points. So let's say you wrote this part out and then you accidentally told me negative 30. You'd probably still get 3 points because you knew almost everything to do. You might have just typed it in the calculator wrong. Okay? So show your work tomorrow. It's only going to help you. If you leave it blank, automatic minus 4. If you don't show any work and you get it wrong, automatic minus 4. So you have to show us what you were thinking if you want any credit.
I thought this was
Did you forget the negative 4? If you had just 2 and the 5, you get a 10. Just double check the multiplication. All right, take a look at number 26. Same idea here. We have that negative. If I wanted to make that a number, just a negative, what would it be?
Which one?
One.
A negative in the front is like a -1. So I'm actually going to make that a -1 just to help me keep things straight, okay? Instead of x, what am I going to put? -4. Instead of y, I'm going to put, and instead of z, I'm going to put 2. Very good. So when you multiply from left to right, negative times a negative is a positive, so that gives me +4. +4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 2 is 40. Questions? All right, 27 and 28 are very similar. In the first one, you have the -4 squared in parentheses. 28, it's still in parentheses, but there's an additional negative sign in the front. So what's the overall answer for 27? 16. It's a negative times a negative. What's the overall answer for 28? -16. Very good, because you have -4 times -4, that's +16, but you still have this negative out front. Again, you can kind of treat it like we did on 26. If you want to write that as a -1 times -4 squared, that might help you keep it straight as far as order of operations goes. So that is up to you. Any negative out in the front, you can always change it to a -1 if it helps. All right, let's just keep rolling with this. Number 29, we want to take the y out and put a 5 in. We want to take the z out and put a 2 in. What is 5 minus 2? And what is 3 squared? 9. All right, and last one, number 30. I'm going to treat the negative sign like a -1 again. So I have a -1 in the front. Instead of the x, I'm going to put a -4. Instead of the y, I'm going to put a 5. And that was all together in parentheses. So I need to do that multiplication first. What's -4 times +5? -20. So I have -1 times -20. Or you could think of it as a -20. Either way, what do you get? +20. Very good. All right. Do you notice how I'm boxing in all my answers? You have to do that on your test tomorrow, okay? Circle or box or whatever. Highlight it. I don't care. As long as I can see, obviously, right away what your answer is. I should not have to search through a bunch of stuff to figure out what your answer was. Honestly, we won't. So we'll just mark it wrong. That is a +20. Because you have a negative. Any questions about this worksheet?
No.
Okay, I cannot answer questions about the weather, but I can answer questions about math. So let's take a look at the combining like term section. So we'll start with number 31. Just an x is like a 1x. So put a 1 there if it helps you. 1x plus 12x is 13x. On the next one, it's like 10b minus 1b, so that's 9b plus 1. Can I combine those and make this 10b? No. Remember, you can only add like terms. They have to have the same variable with the same exponent. Now, there's something tricky on 33. xy is the same thing as yx. So these are actually all like terms. The order of the multiplication does not matter. So you can actually combine them all. 3 plus 4 plus 2 is, what is that, 9xy, or yx if you prefer. All right, 34, I'm going to combine my x squareds first. So I have 3x squared plus 2x squared, that's 5x squared. Then combine your x's. 4x plus 3x is 7x. And then we have a 5 and a 4 gives us a 9. 35 is very similar. We start with our x squareds. So 5x squared minus 2x squared is 3x squared. Then you go to your x's. We have 3x and minus 1x. So 3 minus 1 is 2, so plus 2x. Here's where it gets tricky. What sign is with the 4? What's with the 4? What's right in front of the 4? A negative. This is a negative 4 plus 1. What is negative 4 plus 1? Yes, you are ruining my YouTube. What is negative 4 plus 1? Negative 3. Very good. Everybody, even if you're giggling, take a giggle break. Look at this. Negative is with the 4. A lot of you will put negative 5 here. You'll do 4 plus 1 and you'll just say, oh, I'm subtracting that whole value. That's not how it works. The negative is only with the 4. This is a negative 4 and a positive 1. Negative 4 plus positive 1 is negative 3. Girls, if you would like to stay in this class for the remainder of the review, you need to get quiet. Questions? That is the answer. Why can't I combine all those to be like a big old 2xyx? Yes, they're not like terms. You can only combine them when they have the same variable with the same exponent. Oh, can we combine the 3 and the 2 because they both have x's? You can't. One of them is x squared, one of them is x. Now, I will give you a hint of what a lot of students do. They will either forget the x's completely or they'll forget the exponents. So if you forgot this exponent, then you'd be like, oh, these are like terms. So you have to be very precise with your variables and with your exponents, or once you get away from the original problem, step by step, you'll start combining things that were not originally like terms. All right, we're going to get to the bottom of that column in a second. Let's jump to the top of the next column. Number 38 is pretty tricky, but let's just dive right in. So we have a squared b's. Let's combine all the a squared b's. So I have a negative 2, minus 2, minus 1. So they're all negative. So add the negative, or add the numbers, keep the negative sign. So that's negative 5 a squared b. Here I have an a squared b squared and an a squared b squared. They're both 1. So 1 plus 1 is plus 2 a squared b squared. Now, if you want to write the a squared b squareds on the front, technically that would be the most right answer because you usually put the one with the most exponents in the front. But for my class, this is an okay answer. All right. Now, on your test, these sections would be divided up. It doesn't flow right from like terms to distributive property. I broke them up with separate directions. So if you're like, wait, we're doing something different, it'll look a little different on your test. You'll see like an obvious break where you need to start doing something different. But on here, it's all just blended together. So we are starting distributive property. So we have 3 times 6a plus 3 times 5. 3 times 6a is 18a. 3 times 5 is 15. Those are not like terms. You can't go any further. Box it in. Number 40, we have a negative out front, so it's like distributing a negative 1. So that's negative 1 times 5a minus, then you have a negative 1 times 2. Do you see how I just wrote the minus sign and then I left the 2 as a positive? That's the way I do it. Then I clean up the signs at the very end. So just write it as a minus and then think of the 2 as a positive and clean up your signs when you're done. This is a negative 5a minus, what is negative 1 times 2? Negative 2. And then I have a minus negative. What's a minus negative? So this is negative 5a plus 2. Now, some people prefer to clean up the signs as they go. If you don't want to write this middle step, that's your business, but that's the way I do it, just so in my head I can keep them straight. Moving right along, number 41, I have negative 3 times x plus I have negative 3 times 5. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x plus negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. What is plus a negative? Minus a positive. So this is negative 3x minus 15. All right. We are moving quick. Next one, we have 3 times 9 minus 3 times 7x. 3 times 9 is 27 minus 3 times 7x is 21x. Now, if you want to leave it like this for my class, I'm okay with that. Some teachers require you to write the x in the front. If you want to do that, though, you have to keep the negative 21 with it. So that'd be negative 21x, and the 27 is positive, so plus 27. Either of those answers is fine. Any questions? Just keep it here if this confuses you. This one's more than okay for me. All right, I'll leave those up there for a second. If I lost you on something, just raise your hand. We will get to 36, 37, and 43 on in just a second. I just need to scroll down. 36 is kind of tricky. You have lots of variables going on. Just start at the beginning. So I have a squared, so negative 2a squared, and negative 1a squared. What's negative 2 minus 1? Negative 3a squared. Good. Now do your ABs. So here's negative 2. Again, make sure the negative stays with the 2. Negative 2 plus 1 for my ABs. Careful. Negative 2 plus 1. Negative 1 AB. Very good. Tricky stuff. What sign is that? That's a plus. Okay. Then I have a positive b squared and a negative 9b squared. So that's going to be minus 8b squared. Very tricky one. Any questions? Now, before we do 37, I want you to put a star by it and write the word bonus. There are 3 bonus questions on the test tomorrow. This would be a sample bonus question. The reason this one is so special is you have to distribute before you combine like terms. So again, this will not be like a regular question. You are not required to do something like this tomorrow, but it will be something that could be a bonus. So for this type of problem, you copy it down just as it is until you get to the parentheses. Here we are distributing a negative 1. What is negative 1 times negative a squared? Going to be a negative times a negative, so it's going to be a positive a squared, minus, here's a negative times 8ab, so negative 8ab. Again, this is so tricky, this would be a bonus. So if you're like, what the heck, I'm never going to be able to do this on my own, just kind of tune me out. This is not a requirement, this is just if you want to go above and beyond. Alright, so let's do the a squareds. I have negative 1a squared plus 1a squared. That's 0a squared. A squareds are gone. Let's look at our ABs. I have 2ab plus a negative 8ab. That's like 2ab plus 8ab. That's 10ab. And then there's nothing that goes with the b squared, so minus b squared. All right, did we do 43? I can't remember. No? Okay, so 43, it's like a negative 1 in the front. So this is negative 1 times x minus negative 1 times 8. This gives me negative 1x minus negative 8. Now clean things up. Negative 1x is the same thing as negative x. Plus a minus 8 is the same thing as minus a negative 8 is the same thing as plus an 8. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied up here. So the most correct, cleanest answer on this one is negative x plus 8. Next one, we are distributing a 2 here, so 2 times 5x minus 2 times 2. That's going to be 10x minus 4. And last, but certainly not least, negative 5 times 4x plus negative 5 times 3. This one's going to need some sign cleaning up because I have negative 20x plus negative 15 plus a negative. Looks kind of messy, so you can clean it up. Negative 20x minus 15. Before you put these away, quick reminders. You have a test tomorrow. It is your first test in this class. It is worth 100 points. This could make or break your grade. So you need to make sure that you are studying and asking questions if you need to. You are allowed to use a calculator. I only have 5 or 6 over there. So when you get in here, get with Miss Ricker to check it out so you can use it on your test. It's even better if you bring your own because you're familiar with how it works. After the test tomorrow, this is not a social hour, so bring something to work on. When you turn your test in, just get your material out and sit quietly. Questions about what tomorrow's going to look like in here?